I think one of the greatest advantages that uh, SSI has over other companies is Sudhir Srivastava. Now, as a disclaimer, Sudhir and I are friends, and he was actually my partner in surgery many years ago, and I would say a teacher of mine. And he's just extremely passionate about the use of robotics in cardiac surgery. Now, of course, the company is going to support other specialties um, because that's the right thing to do. But unlike many other companies, he sees the value in designing a machine capable of doing robotic cardiac surgery, not just for cardiac surgery patients, but if I think someone at this conference said, if you can build a surgical robotic system capable of doing cardiac surgery, it can do any kind of surgery. But I have no doubt that I could do a case right now with that device. It's very comparable to current technology. I think for me, the most exciting part about it, though, is how nimble the company seems to appear in terms of developing new technology. You know, for years, like it or not, we've only had one company, and they're a good company, and they've done good things. But there's no doubt that competition and having different companies with different philosophies and different degrees of maneuverability in terms of new technology will be a good thing for robotic surgery, particularly robotic heart surgery, which really does need a boost, particularly in terms of tool development and support of some of the procedures that we feel that can benefit from robotics. I think the most striking thing about the Mantra system at the moment is the open platform cockpit. For years, most of us have used a closed system with the intuitive robot, and that has some advantages. Um, it also has disadvantages. You become completely immersed in that environment, and now you've got to interact with the world outside that virtual world that you're operating in. With the open cockpit model, which the Mantra has, and several of the other new systems coming out throughout the world have, um, it seems to allow more uh, communication between yourself and the virtual world you're operating in and the bedside team and the patient care team, you know, in particular. It may be also ultimately more comfortable from an ergonomic standpoint. With the old other system, I'm leaning over, looking into it. With this, I may be able to be, more comfortable position. Um, I'm struck by the hand interface, the master controllers they're called. They're very different than what we've used previously, but it's refreshing to see some innovation in that space. And it may be that ultimately uh, different types of hand controllers will actually allow for more dexterity. Um, but it'll take some time. But I think there's some great improvements that can be done in terms of adapting the robotic systems to what the needs of the clinician are, what problems they're facing. I'll give you an example. For instance, I was talking to your chief operating officer today, and one of the problems that every robotic team faces every day is a dirty camera, right? Well, we've been saying this for years, and there's not a lot of solutions. I mean, I have workarounds. My team works like a pit crew in an auto race where they take it out and they have a drill they go through to get it clean and get it back in. But it seems to me we ought to be able to automate that. And there is some technology out there. A lot of times that falls on deaf ears with the more traditional companies, whereas I could see a company like SSI potentially looking at that problem and having a more direct feedback loop uh, to the customer, which is the patient, the surgeon, the bedside team. The industry has not done a good job of that in the past 20 years. I think in the next 20 years it'll have to, because the company that connects with the clinician and solve those problems, whether it be SSI or Intuitive or other companies, they'll win the game. Again, competition is good for innovation. I think if you really want to look at the number one strength of the Mantra and SSI have focused on the number one problem in robotic surgery, and that is cost. You know, the systems have been extremely expensive, almost prohibitively expensive for much of the world. But even in the United States, with lots of resources, you won't find too many hospital administrators who are happy about the cost of these robots, and or surgeons for that matter. Um, the Mantra the development of the Mantra has been focused on making a lower cost robot from day one. And that will be one of the absolute essential components of robotic surgery continuing, because the cost of healthcare is a problem everywhere. And if we don't bring down the cost, it's not going to survive. And to my knowledge, the Mantra is the first and only company that has really made that a primary focus.